Okay, I'm in my office and I am doing a very quick introduction to Christ in Concrete. I thought I had a video up, but I took it down because the sound was very poor. So here is a very brief introduction with some suggestions. Number one, it is a difficult text to read, at least at the beginning, because it is rather unusual, both in the language and the way the narration is put together. You will run immediately into a number of characters. They are not introduced the normal way. They're just thrown in as if it were on a stage, and there they start acting. Do not bother to learn the names. Don't waste your time. It's not important that you associate what they say with who they are. It is a group of workers, construction workers, Italians, and they are just like teasing each other, bantering the way people do at work. What is important is the rhythm that the narration has, because it wants to give you a sense of these people moving all together as if they were the integral part of a unit. The language is also rather quote-unquote strange. Di Donato, who actually, this is actually semi-autobiographical because Di Donato's father was working in a construction gang and then himself became a bricklayer. He is reproducing in English what these people say in Italian. Imagine that they are speaking Italian or even a dialect among themselves. And what he does in order to render the language, he translates literally rather than translates the metaphors with equivalent metaphors or proverbs. He gives you exactly the literal translation. So at a certain point, you will find an expression like life is a carrion. Carrion meaning like, putrefied body of an animal. Well, that is an Italian expression, carogna. That means life is a bitch, basically. But the Italian word is carogna. So when he writes in English, he translates literally. And you'll find a lot of expressions. So you will find, for instance, mater mine, mother mine, rather than mother of mine, or mamma mia, right? That's mamma mia, madre mia. So he takes Italian literally, also the word position in the sentences, and he translates them. This is just to give you an introduction to some of the oddities of this language. Second, read slowly and try to find a rhythm. I'm going to read the very first page or even less than that, but to give you a sense. March whistled stinging snow against the brick walls and up the gaunt girders. Geremio the foreman swung his arm about and gaffed the man on. Old Nick the Lean stood up from over a dust-flying brick pile, tapped the side of his nose, and sent an oyster directly to the ground. Master Geremio, the devil himself could not break his tail any harder than we here. Burly Giulio of the walrus mustache, as known as Snout-Nose, let fall the chute door of the concrete hopper and sang over in the Lean's direction. Maria Nina's belly, and the burning night will make of me once more a milk-mouthed stripling lad. The Lean loaded his wheelbarrow and spat furiously. Son of a two-legged dog, despised of even the devil himself. Work! Sure, for America Beautiful will eat you and spit your bones into the earth's hole. Work! And with that his weary frame pitched the barrow violently over the rough floor. Snot-Nose waved his head to and fro, and with mock pathos wailed, "Sing on, guitar of mine." He's making fun of the other one and his complaints. It would be in English, it would be like violins playing, right? Sing on, guitar of mine, same meaning. Short, cheery-faced Thomas, the scaffold man, paused with hatchet in hand and tenpenny spike sticking out from small dish-like teeth to tell the Lean as he went by, in a voice the doll could hear. Ah, father of countless chicks, the old age is a carrion. Okay, the old age is a carrion. Being old is a bitch, basically. Here is the word that I mentioned. Jeremiah chuckled and called to him, Hey, little Thomas, who are you to talk? You and big-titted Cola can't even hatch an egg, whereas the lean has just to turn the doorknob of his bedroom and old Philomena becomes a balloon. Again, bantering, making fun of each other. Coarse throats tickled, the mouths opened wide in laughter. The lean pushed his barrow on, his face curly furrowed with time and struggle. Syrupy sweat seeped from beneath his cap, down his bony nose, and turned icy at its end. He muttered to himself, Saints up, down, sideways, and inside out. How many more stones must I carry before I'm overstuffed with the light of day? I don't understand. Blood of the Virgin, I don't understand. And it goes on like this. Then there are more exchanges, and you will find out what happens in the first chapter. I want to go to page 8 now, the very second paragraph. Here, Di Donato experiments with onomatopoeia, which means the sound of the words that want to reproduce the sound of the workplace, and he does a masterful job. There are some passages in this book which are absolute masterpieces. Here is one of them. I'm going to try to read a little more slowly than I have, also because it's not so easy. Consider that this passage does not have punctuation. So it's thrown at you, and what really matters is the attempt to render the sound of the workplace through the words. Trowel rang through brick and slashed mortar rivets, where machine gunned fast with angry grind. Patsy number 1 check, Patsy number 2 check, the lean 3 check, Julio 4 still borrow back at hammer donkey engines, coughed purple ashes ass Pietro 15 chisel pointing on stone. Tin still whirred and wailed through wood, liquid stone flowed with dull rasp through iron veins, and oil screamed through space. Rosario the Fat 24 and Giacomo Sangini check. The multitudinous voices of a civilization rose from the surroundings and melted with the efforts of the job. I find this last sentence superfluous because that's exactly what it tries to give you, the sense of speed and fast and noise that the workplace brings to the watcher, to the observer. And on goes on like this. The next page, page 9, 2/3 of the page down, there is another description, very powerful description of this effort, the work effort of all this group of people together. It goes with the men. It starts with the men. The men were transformed into single silent beasts. Snout nose steamed through ragged mustache, whiplashing sand into mixer, ass dragged under 4x12 beam, lean clawed, walnuts jumping in jaws masonry, crumb dust billowed under choked. Again, we could break it down any way you want to try to give it a meaning, but what really important is the rolling of these words constantly. And because there are several passages like this. I'm going to stop because I hope this is enough. Read slowly and read very carefully, and especially read very carefully the last 2-3 pages from 14 to 17. And you'll find a surprise.